Namaste, dear friends, and I hope all of you are doing well. I'm going to talk about the Bhavas. Now, when I started learning astrology years ago, the topic that actually put all the understanding that I had or made it clear was the Bhavas. The Bhavas, although it was confusing, right, although it was deep in the religious context of the Vedas, but it was revealing because the bhavas gave me a clear picture. Okay, with all the bits and pieces information at that time when I was learning astrology, the bhavas sort of integrated everything together, and that was truly a remarkable experience because it's like putting the last piece of puzzle, right? And it clearly gave me a very clear view. All right, I had my own perspective at that point of time on what Vedic astrology or Jyotish is all about. So if you are an aspiring astrologer or you're an enthusiast, it doesn't matter where you are in learning Vedic astrology, understanding the bhavas is integral, is the core component to be to do successful predictions. Okay, it's very, 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 very important. Now it will take a long time for me to explain the deeper meanings, the essence, and all that. What I'm going to do in this video is that to give you a framework, an outline on what sort of bhavas there are or houses there are, and how you should look at it. Okay, just to give you a framework. As I mentioned earlier, if I were to go through one by one, it's going to be very difficult. I hope you're aware that Vedic astrology is part of the Vedas, right? And thus, understanding the core principles or the truth or the fundamentals of the Vedas is essential. Without that, we may only have a superficial understanding. For instance, the second house is the house of savings, the house of speech, the house of charity, the house of individual growth, and so on and so forth. So that is the superficial understanding. Yes, it is true. That's what the second house is all about. Kudumbasthana, this Dhana Bhava and all that. It's fine, but that is very superficial. Without understanding the core principles of that house, we may never get the true essence when we're doing predictions. So, which is why I keep saying that without a guru, okay, without a teacher, it is very, very difficult to learn this. This shastra is very, very difficult. I would say that if you're interested or you're an aspiring astrologer, it's best that you get a guru. Okay, a teacher is very, very important because you will then understand the esoterical meaning behind it. Only then we would truly understand. But anyway, putting that aside, just wanted to let you know that Vedic astrology is religious. By nature is religious, and if without the religious understanding, we may not get that full understanding and full I would say contentment. Okay, we may not feel fully satisfied when we perform the prediction, at least from my point of view. Okay, let's get into these houses. All right. So as I mentioned, I'm not going to cover all. I'm just going to cover just a few, just to give you an understanding what are these houses and why you should be looking at it. All right. Now let's talk about the first house. All right, or the first group of house, which is called the Kendra. Kendra is basically the angular houses, or the 1, 4, 7, 10 houses. All right, it's the perfect square. All right, the 1, 4, 7, 10 houses. If you look at the North Indian chart, you will see the 1, 4, 7, 10 are the inner circle. That clearly, if you shade all the 4 boxes, you will see like a diamond shape. All right. In South Indian chart, it's a little bit staggered. But again, the Kendras or the angular houses are the 1, 4, 7, 10 houses. Now, the 1, 4, 7, 10 houses or the Kendra or the angular houses are the actual foundation of the charts. Now, if the analogy is, if you're building the house, the actual foundation slab, that's a slab, and those slabs must be counter weight or counterbalanced by 4 pillars, right? If you're building a house, it requires 4 pillars. Now, without those 4 pillars, the house would not be sturdy. It will certainly fall. So these 4 pillars are the foundation. Okay, if you plug this analogy to Vedic astrology, you come to understand that these 4 pillars are the 4 strengths or the 4 powers for building or for having a good chart. So the 1, 4, 7, 10 houses clearly shows how well this person will be. Okay, these are I would say a cursory glance. When you look at a chart, all right, when I do analysis, when I look at a chart, I'll look at certain things on a very cursory level, on a very I would say on a very simple level first before analyzing, to give me an outline, right? To give me a sort of a framework on what sort of life this person is having, or would have gone through, or will be having. Okay, so this glance or cursory checking, the first thing is to look at the angular houses or the 1, 4, 7, 10 house, because that will give me an indication. Okay, so the 1, 4, 7, 10 houses gives us as astrologers an idea on how strong this chart is going to be, regardless of the yogas, regardless of any other matters which let's say if the chart has a debilitated Mercury, for example. Okay, but the 1, 4, 7, 10 houses have good benefits like the Venus or Jupiter. They are good grahas in the 1, 4, 7, 10 houses. So it sort of counters the affliction that where Mercury is debilitated, right? So my point is, the 1, 4, 7, 10 houses gives us confidence, gives us sort of initial understanding on what this chart holds. Okay, what sort of how complex this chart is going to be, how strong is this chart going to be, or how weak is this chart going to be, is always checked with the 1, 4, 7, 10 houses. So if you notice many malefic influences, many malefic drishtis or argalas, or even if you have any malefic or unfriendly grahas in the unfriendly signs in the 1, 4, 7, 10 houses, that shows that this chart is or this person will have to go through some bad times, or this person is going through bad times, or this person has suffered some bad times. So remember, the 1, 4, 7, 10 will give us an initial indication on how strong a chart is. Okay, so to put it in one word, the Kendra houses is the creation. Okay, again we can relate this Kendra as Lord Brahma. Okay, Lord Brahma is the creator, and thus we can have this analogy that the Kendras are Lord Brahma. It sort of that initial impulse, the initial creation, okay, the initial strength is seen in the 1, 4, 7, 10 houses. Now, the second grouping is called the Panapara. Panapara means the succeedant. If you look at the Western astrology, they call it a succeedant, where the Kendra is called the angular. Now, the succeedant or the Panapara shows from my view, from what I feel, is that it's like Lord Vishnu, where he sustains, where Lord Vishnu is the preserver, right? Where he sustains, he sort of collects, sustains, and preserves things, right? So anyway, this is what you can do as well. Try to come up with analogies That's how I look at it. For Kendra, I feel it's all initial impulse creation. For Panapara, which are the 2, 5, 8, and 11 houses, yeah, correct. 2, 5, 8, and 11 houses are the houses of Panapara or the succeedant, or the houses which shows us the the amount of things that we collect, assets that we collect, how well are we collaborating with things and people around us, and also how long things is going to be, how what are the duration or the length of I would say consolidation, okay, or preservation. What are we preserving here? We are preserving assets, learning, how well we're accumulating, maybe our karma, maybe we are accumulating our wealth, whatever it is, whatever that we do in this birth is seen in the whatever that we do in this birth to sustain, to preserve, like having children, right? Children is for us to continue life, isn't it? And which is why the 5th house is part of the Panapara, because the 5th is the Putra Bhava. So I hope you can understand what the Panapara means and why it is associated with the house of 2, 5, 8, and 11. Okay, and again you can have this analogy or you can associate this with Lord Vishnu. That's how I do it. I don't think it is stated anywhere in any books, but I'm just sharing to you. Remember, the Kendras are like Lord Brahma, and the Panapara is like Lord Vishnu. Now, of course, the ending would be Lord Shiva, where is destruction and chaos. Now, the third grouping, which I associate with Lord Shiva, is the Apoklyma. Apoklyma, of course, Apoklyma. If you can, another thing you can associate is apocalypse with the English word. It may not have any similarities or any association with the word, but again, these are ways where you can remember. I'm just giving you some tips here, right? So Apoklyma is associated, from my point of view, is Lord Shiva, because these Apoklyma houses or the 3, 6, 9, and 12 houses. Okay, I repeat, Apoklyma or the cadent in Western astrology, they call it cadent, are the 3, 6, 9, 12. It's appearing in your screen right now. Now, these 3, 6, 9, and 12 houses are houses which has a lot of chaos in it. Okay, these houses will show us, moving forward, taking decision, taking a risk in life. All right, changing our situations, adapting ourselves. Mixing with people, getting things done. Understanding the world. Trying to go into that. Trying to leave from the safe zone, moving into uncharted territories, taking a risk and all that is the Apoklyma houses. That is why the third house is one of it, because the third shows us venture. Okay, the third shows us with ourselves. Okay, just by ourselves, how far can we go? What sort of capacity do we have to venture by ourselves into this world? That's what the third house in essence means. So 3, 6, 9, and 12 are the houses which shows that sense of risk taking, adaptability, that sense of adventure, right? That sense of insecureness, and all that is seen in these houses. It also shows how much learning are we going to do in this life. Of course, this will relate to changes doesn't come easy. All right, changes comes with a lot of risk taking, a lot of going into the unknowns, understanding the things that we have very little knowledge. Going to a new world of knowledge. That's what this Apoklyma houses are. The thing is, when we get ourselves entangled with learning new things, with going and finding new experience and all that, we have to go through certain turmoil. All right, we have to go through certain adaptability. We need to modify our understanding. We need to be sensitive towards the community that we're going to learn. We need to be rough and tough. We need to be sometimes indecisive, sometimes insecure, and all that. Sometimes doing unrealistic actions and all that, so that we can learn those new experiences. And those things are grouped as destruction and chaotic. All right. So again, those things, those houses, the 3, 6, 9, and 12 houses, associated from my point of view as Lord Shiva. So again, friends, don't quote me anywhere, but this is my way of understanding the houses. Okay. So the 3 primary groups, which are the Kendras, which is associated with the creation initial impulse, again associated with Lord Brahma. The Panapara houses, which is associated with Lord Vishnu, as it is about preservation, sustainment of life, moving forward, and having a lot of leaving your understandings, your experience to others, and leaving a mark in this world. Okay, accumulating wealth and all that is the Panapara houses, which is ruled by Lord Vishnu. And the third is the Apoklima house, which is ruled by Lord Shiva, where it's all about changes. It's all about understanding the need to be in this world of chaos, in this world of filled with delusions, and in a world of indecisiveness and all that. So these are the 3 main groups of houses where you can immediately get a sense. All right. Now the question is, how do you know which group to take? All right. It's quite simple. You should notice wherever you see a cluster of grahas are. Okay. Let's say if they are close towards the 1, 4, 7, 10 houses, then this person will have a lot of the Kendra personality, or the Kendra features. If you see a lot of, or most of the grahas towards the Apoklima houses, then this person would have naturally a very that tendency of all the features that I talked about Apoklima just now, which is indecisiveness, radical thinking, people who take a risk, people who are adaptable, people who are easily disturbed, unreliable people, in sort of things. So remember, follow where the cluster of grahas are, follow where they are mainly concentrating at, and that will give you an idea on which grouping that you're supposed to take. Okay. Now, some of the other houses to take into consideration besides these 3 will be the main 4, I would say, sub houses. Okay. Now these sub houses are also, or rather, a secondary cursory glance. So you have looked through initially, okay, and you found out that the cluster or many grahas are going towards the Panapara houses. So you will have roughly an idea about what this person is. Okay, and maybe this person is all about saving money, or trying to have a good family, trying to raise good children, because it's all about sustainment for this person. Now you're going to look a little bit deeper. Okay, you're going to look a little bit deeper, and you're going to find what are the second tenets, or the second category, second level of category this person has. Now this is where all the 4 sub houses will come. Okay, the 4 houses are associated with the 4 main, I would say, life cycle, or I would say the duties of a Vedantist or a Hindu. Okay, now remember, all these are based on Hindu scriptures, as the Vedas are. Now, these four houses or four sub houses are associated with the four life cycles. All right. Now, in Hindu theology, the four main principles are Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. DAKM. All right. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Now, these four principles are the governing light or the guiding instrument to have a fulfilled life. All right. Any person who wants to have a fulfillment in his life should go through these four stages, these four principles. Now, these four principles as Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha is also integrated with what a person should do, right? Besides being virtuous and all that, it also teaches us on what are the things that we should do in order for us to find fulfillment in life, which is why they break life into four categories. The brahmacharya, the first is the student or the brahmacharya. Next is the duty of the grahastha or the householder. All right. Third is the vanaprastha, or the vanaprastha literally means jungle dwellers, but in this case it's like people who are in pre-retirement, so they try to let go of their whatever they have. Let's say they have a few houses and so many assets. It's time for them to sell it off or to give it to their children or to do something or charity and all that. Try to let go of materialistic desires. And the last stage in life is moksha, or in this case sannyasa or sannyasi or renunciation. So these four cycles or four stages in life is also being applied in Vedic astrology, because again it's from the Vedas, right? So all this needs to be applied. Now the four sub houses which has the Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. The first is the Dharma Houses. Okay, in these Dharma Houses, which is the first, the fifth, and the ninth. Again, Dharma Houses are the first, fifth, and the ninth. All right, these houses will give you a picture on how dharmic this person is. Okay, what are the capacity this person will have in order for him or her to perform the dharmic duties. Now, what is dharma? Dharma is like, virtue, righteousness and all that, good conduct and all that. So if you want to know if this person has a good morale, has a good virtue or good conduct, or is actually righteous, we can always look at these 159 houses. Now these 159 are also called as the trine houses, right? So that's the first sub category of the houses, which are the trine or the Dharma houses. This 159 shows the morale of a person. Okay. The second category is the Artha. Right. The Artha rules the 2, 6, 10 houses. Now the Artha is those houses will show us what sort of assets this person will bring or will have. Right, assets can be anything. It can be financial, economic status. It can be, knowledge. It can be, even family members is an asset. Right. So, what sort of asset or what sort of I'm trying to think. What sort of maybe the word treasures, right? The treasures of life that this person is having. You can see that. Now let's say if the 2, 6, 10 houses are not well positioned, or they have malefic grahas, or they have bad drishtis or something. Now that will show that this person have very less assets, which also means that this person may not have much money, may not much have good family backing, may not have good friends, may not have good knowledge. All these things are assets, right? So 2, 6, 10 gives us an idea on what does this person, what is this person's resources are. Okay. Now the third category is the house of Kama. Kama simply means desires, materialistic desires, or pleasures that we seek with our five senses. All right, those are associated with Kama. All right. Now, the Kama houses are 3, 7, and 11. All these houses will show us what sort of propensities that we have when it comes to desire. Now, if it's too strong, then a person would be seen as lustful or greedy, a person who is, glutton, and all that is seen on the 3, 7, and 11 houses. All right. So remember, the Kama houses is all about pleasing ourselves, enjoying ourselves with our five senses. It may sound as something good, but then in the context, again, we have to connect this with the religious context, because it is from the Vedas anyway. In the form, when it comes to luxuries of life, although it sounds nice, but in essence, this will bring us a lot of unhappiness in life. So remember, 3, 7, 11 are the houses of Kama, which shows us what sort of desire, how much do we have? Is it a balanced one, or is it something out of control? Now, the fourth category are the moksha houses, the houses which shows the I would say the deeper meanings of life, the esoterical knowledge of life, the spiritual part of us, the mysterious part of us, the mystical part of us. It also shows our feelings, our emotions, right? So the 4, 8, 12 houses are the moksha houses. It gives a person, or rather it shows what sort of emotional and psychological boundaries of a person. So by just looking at the 4, 8, 12 houses, we can see if this person a very sensitive person, or if this person has some kind of a psychological problems, or if this person is really into those mystical experiences like tantra or any form of voodoo or black magic, or maybe someone who's really into spirituality, someone who's really their feelings are always to be someone who is in the line of spirituality. Okay, so if you see a monk or some person who is in the spiritual line, you'll see his or her charts. The 4, 8, 12 houses are very strong. Okay, because they are always connected. They are, no matter where they are, no matter how they were raised, their social conditioning, maybe their parents were rich people, maybe they were brought up in a very opulent lifestyle, doesn't matter. By the end of the day, you see them writing religious books, or they might be renunciating materialistic life and going into more spiritual life. They may live in a monastery, or they may serve the poor and needy. That sort of things is seen in the 4, 8, 12 houses. Remember, that's the moksha houses. And of course, these 4 houses, these 4 groups, these 4 subgroups can be again associated with the gunas and the tattvas, which is again a very, very long topic. I'm trying to cut short this video. Even that is about 30 minutes already now. So I hope this has been informational. So do stay tuned. If you're new to my channel, do subscribe. I'll be covering more on the insights of Vedic astrology. Thank you. Namaste.